If you're new here, welcome. I am a first-year PhD candidate at Oxford University, hold a Master's of Science in Sustainability, Enterprise and Environment from the same school. I come from a very small country in Southern Africa. I grew up in Namibia. Thereafter, I thought to myself, I really wanted to attend university in some place like the United States, but I also knew it would be very difficult to do that from Namibia. I looked for programs and I found the IB, the International Baccalaureate. I'd found a group of schools that offered it. I mean, there's many schools all over the world that offer it, but the group that I found was the United World College group of schools. I got a scholarship. I went to China and I spent 2 years in Changshu, China, doing the IB. It just so happens that the UWCs are a big feeder school for universities in the United States. I applied to a school called Claremont McKenna College in California. After UWC, I ended up studying international relations at Claremont McKenna College. I still kind of regret not exploring California enough, and that's because I was always studying. I was trying to go to a good postgraduate institution. While at CMC, in my 4th year, I was in my college advisor's office, and the college advisor is just like the fellowships director who points out different opportunities. He pointed out that I had a high GPA and prompted me to consider the Rhodes Scholarship. Up until that point, I don't think I'd ever heard about the Rhodes Scholarship. I Googled it. I saw that they had a 0.7% global acceptance rate. I kind of dismissed it, but he emailed me again and encouraged me again, and that was the journey to Oxford, really. I knew I wanted to do a master's degree in the United Kingdom. Oxford was beyond my wildest imagination, so I was just looking for somebody to pay. It's a bonus that it's at Oxford. That's how I ended up going from Namibia to Oxford. So it really was a long game. It was something that I had thought about. Even though the end goal wasn't Oxford itself, I knew that I wanted to study outside of Namibia and that I needed to be creative about how I was going to do that. The price for a degree is different for international students versus home students. I don't have the numbers off the top of my head, so I'll have to read them. A master's for international students, mine was in sustainability, enterprise and environment, and different master's degrees cost different prices. Mine was £48,000, 820. These are the latest figures from the website of the Oxford School of Geography. For the PhD, the annual course fee is £32,000, 960. PhD can take 3 to 4 years. That is 32,000 multiplied by 3. Mine is fully funded by the Rhodes Trust. There's lots of other funding sources as well. People fund their PhDs or their master's degrees through a whole different range. You just need to do your research. These figures are broadly applicable just for postgrad students living in the UK. In fact, check this, but I think this is broadly applicable. I'll have to read just because I don't have them memorized. In terms of accommodation, I spent about, on average, £900 per month, and you can spend anywhere between £900 and £1,200 per month. And in rands, that's about 22,000 rands. So that's between 22,000 to 30,000 rands. I lived in college accommodation, which made things a little bit simpler. You can also find independent accommodation, and the price varies. If you're very lucky, the number or the amount of £900 actually includes electricity and water, but sometimes you'd have to pay £900 and that would exclude electricity and water. More often than not, you're either sharing a house. I mean, unless you're in college accommodation and you have your room, but many times you are sharing a house and you're sharing a bathroom, you're sharing a kitchen. If you're very lucky, you could get accommodation that's £800 or £900 with water and electricity and your own bathroom. But that's quite rare in my experience. In terms of groceries, I eat more I think, than the average person my age slash gender slash weight maybe, but that's because I work out and so I'm always eating quite a bit. So if this number sounds higher, then that's because it probably is. But I spend about 180 pounds to 250 pounds per month on food. That's about 4,500 rands to 6,000 rands on food. How you split it up is really up to you. You could buy groceries for the month. I like to buy groceries for the week because I like to be creative each week with what I'm going to be eating. If you're the type of person who doesn't have the discipline to cook for yourself, this number will definitely be higher because you'll find yourself eating out, getting a kebab from the food truck outside your accommodation. If you cook, you would make this amount very, very manageable. Coffees, lunches, social life. If you want to grab a coffee with a friend, that's not too much, but obviously depends on how social you are. That's between 80 pounds and about 200 pounds per month. That could be 2,000 rands to about 5,000 rands. Oxford has a really social college culture. There's coffee meetings, there's formal dinners, someone's having a birthday dinner, you want to get someone a birthday gift. You see that everywhere. It's not just being a student. Something that a lot of people forget, if you're the type of person who gets homesick, it would help you if you factored in travel. A flight from Namibia to Oxford can cost anywhere between 800 pounds to 1,500 pounds if I leave it too late. If you're going to be going home every 3 months or if you're going to go home at the end of every semester, we have 3 terms in Oxford. Michaelmas, we have Hillary, and then we have Trinity. Each semester is 8 weeks long. So if you're going home after every 8 weeks, make sure that you have your 800 pounds to pay for your ticket. Visa fees, a health surcharge, winter clothes, laundry, phone bill, conference travel if you're a PhD student or even a master's student, unexpected dinners, birthday gifts, like I already mentioned. By the time you calculate everything together, your living costs can easily be between 1,300 pounds to like 2,000 pounds every month. And that is 32,000 rands to 47,000 rands every month, depending on your lifestyle. It's not that straightforward whether or not it was worth it. It really depends on what you want to get out of it and what you're looking for. For me, I did it because I'm from Namibia. We discovered oil and gas. And I was really curious about understanding the energy transition, understanding what all the hype was, and really understanding what the opportunities were or are in that field. I got that. Some of the pros are the network that you gain. You're studying with some of the best and brightest minds in the world, both from the UK and from other countries. If those people can be a part of your network, you ring them up one day, or even if you don't, you learn a lot. It's an inspiring group. So I felt like I was constantly being challenged because you're surrounded by people who are at the absolute top of their game. That was important for me because I like to challenge myself. I like to go from being the best version of myself into an even better version. There's obviously also the academic growth. You come from a place where you're maybe used to being top of your class, but you're getting 50%, 60% when you're at Oxford because it's just so difficult to do well. It's just a very, very rigorous institution. They're strict with their grading, even though that differs from department to department. But that forces you to grow. It forces you to be sharper in your analysis and your thinking. So I also loved that. As you saw from the numbers, it's really expensive to study there. Sometimes you don't find funding. I recognize not everybody is lucky enough to have a scholarship. And even when you do get a scholarship, many scholarships don't pay for everything. Some of them will pay for tuition, but they don't give you a stipend. Obviously, also a lot of pressure. The flip side of being surrounded by people who are at the top of their game is that if you're not performing for whatever reason, then you feel like a bit of an imposter. You feel like you don't deserve to be there. You also just constantly need to check yourself and manage and remind yourself that you're doing your best if you are doing your best. A lot of master's programs are 2 years on average. Like in the US, where I was looking at first, those are 2-year programs. But in the UK, it's 1 year. Some master's degrees at Oxford are even just 9 months, and that's a very short period of time. The pressure is insane. They tell you at the beginning that it's like a pressure cooker, and it really is, because you're effectively trying to cram 2 years worth of content into 1 year at a very high level. It also means that you don't quite feel like you've had the full Oxford experience, because most times you're studying or you're reading. You always have to make those trade-offs. It's common for Rhodes Scholars to do either 2 one-year master's degrees or to go from a master's degree straight into a PhD. So for me, it's something that I contemplated, and I was choosing between an acceptance to the Masters of Public Policy and an acceptance to the PhD. I always knew that I wanted to come back home, hit the ground running, or if not come back home, then be somewhere out in the world, putting my skills to use. But I thought to myself, I might not get a chance to do this again. And even if I do, it might not be fully funded. I want children one day. I want to have a family one day. I don't want to be bogged down by other responsibilities. That's with all due respect to people who are managing a PhD or postgraduate studies alongside a family, alongside a full-time job. A lot of respect to those people. I just didn't want to be in a position where I had to do that if I had the choice not to. I knew that I had more questions about my subject area. I knew there was an opportunity for me to improve and really become an expert in my field. I'll do it now while I'm young, while I'm lean, while I don't have any responsibilities, while all I'm thinking about is learning and improving. Whether it's to postgrad opportunities in the UK in general, or if it's to the Rhodes Scholarship, I'd say there are 3 main things. One is I'd say know why you want to do a master's degree or do a PhD. Especially master's degrees, they're so common these days. In part, they're common because people think that it magically guarantees you a job or it sets you up for some kind of success. A master's degree is not a substitute for hard work. You're still going to have to work. You're still going to have to apply for the jobs. Whether that degree is from Oxford or from somewhere else, you're still going to have to do the work. And if you're not comfortable with that, then I don't know if it's for you. Know why you want to do it. Are you interested in the subject matter? Are you interested in the industry? Do you want to make money with it? Once you sit down and ask yourself, what do I want to get from it? It also means that you're going to take rejections less personally because you're able to just keep applying if you know why you're doing it and not just to do it because everybody else seems to be doing it. Do your research. When you want it for just the sake of wanting it, it means that you're prioritizing speed over direction. So you don't do your research. It means that you submit a half-hearted application, or you submit an application that reflects that you clearly haven't read enough about the mission of the scholarship or the vision or the aims or the history. Where did that scholarship come from? What kinds of people are they looking for? Let that research inform what you put in your application. Obviously, don't lie or pretend to be someone that you're not just to get a scholarship, but know what you're applying to. Don't just throw a bunch of stuff at the wall and hope that something sticks. Be meticulous in the application as well. If you find that there are only 3 scholarships that really speak to the vision of what you want to do, then apply to and prioritize those 3, as opposed to spreading yourself thin across 10 different opportunities where 8 of them don't mean anything to you. Focus on which ones are the most important, which ones speak to you the most, which ones realistically are you likely to get. That's what I'd say to someone who's thinking of applying today. But also in general, if you've wanted to go and do your postgrad, it's also just a good opportunity to self-actualize, to potentially live in another country. If you want to do it in another country, the worst that could happen is a year of your life or 2 years of your life that you spent making a mistake, which in the grand scheme of things is not such a bad outcome. That is everything I wish I'd known before. I hope this was helpful. If you enjoyed it, subscribe and share it with someone who might benefit.